Welcome back to the Capture Your Confidence podcast. Today, we are talking about reframing your story, how to use an experience in the past that was maybe not so positive and reposition it in a way that helps you build for the future and build your confidence.
Yes. And I think this is so important because our stories and the narratives that we are putting out there are the most important thing that we have. It becomes our reality. It's our perception, and it shapes the perception of those around us as well.
And I think people forget that they're the author. Like, you decide what the story is. You decide the outlook. You decide what happens and what doesn't happen. The world is going to continue to move. You're going to continue to bump into the world. But the way that you see it and the way that you talk about it, especially to yourself, is the thing that's the most powerful thing. So we want to talk about reframing that story and how to take those moments that maybe felt like everything was crumbling, but use it for the power of good for the future you that you're becoming.
Yes. And I think that paying attention to times in your life that have been very challenging
For sure.
is a really good place to start, and really thinking through the lessons that you learned from those moments and finding ways to weave that into the story that you're telling yourself and how that has led you to where you are today and how you're able to make better, stronger choices, how your confidence has improved. That's the self-talk that we need to be hearing.
Yeah. I mean, I do think you have to have a willingness to sort of traverse into the muck in order to do this work. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to casually take a jaunt back into my history and see like what didn't go so great. This is a serious endeavor. So make sure you're mentally prepared for that and surround yourself with whatever resources you need to do that work. Sometimes doing it alone is fine. Sometimes you need a therapist or a friend or somebody to help navigate that with you. Journaling is a beautiful way to do that, to just, okay, these are the key points in my life of like where things maybe didn't go so great and what happened because of the way that I showed up in that time. What happened because of the way that I talked to myself during that time. And so you can ask yourself some questions to really understand how things went and maybe how you wanted to shift them too.
Yeah. And I think an important part here is once we've identified those is finding ways that we can reframe that and looking at the adversity and flipping it on its head. And instead of being a victim, how are we the hero?
Exactly. In every single circumstance, you cannot tell me that there was nothing positive to come from something awful.
Yeah.
You cannot tell me that you can't find one thing that either made you stronger, made you more resilient, created an opportunity for you to start over in a way that really was more meaningful for you. There is always something. You just have to be willing to find it. And that's the part of this work that I think people have a really hard time facing because they just want to hang on so deeply to this was hard, this was terrible, and this thing happened to me.
Yeah. And once you start finding it, it becomes really easy to continue finding it in every narrative that you're sharing.
Yeah. And really what's happening here is you're shifting from adversity into growth mode, right?
Yeah.
You're shifting from that victimhood into the hero mode, like you said. And when you can change the viewpoint of how you're looking at something, that's when everything around you sort of shifts, for sure. So, I always like to ask myself the question, if I am looking back at a time in my life where things were really hard, what role did I play in that? Like, what role did I play in making it hard or keeping it hard? And usually I'll find so many opportunities where moving forward, I can choose a different thought, a different behavior, a different narrative, and future actions too.
Yeah, because really so many things in life repeat themselves, whether, just like at their core, like you're always going to be met with this type of decision to make, or there's always going to be something that you try to do that doesn't work or doesn't go the way that you plan. And so the more comfortable you can get with rewriting that narrative, and the more automatic it can come to you in a way that says, instead of I failed at this, but here's what I learned and here's how I grew and here's what we'll do different next time, it makes it so much easier to try new things.
Yeah. And I mean, isn't that the whole point of being here? Like, why are we on this giant floating rock in the sky? Like, what is the point, right? If we're not going to grow and learn and evolve and get better and really feel like the richness that living affords us, right? Like all these relationships that we've built, what are they for? And so, I want you to just go through this simple exercise of asking yourself a question or taking a time where maybe something was negative. I failed at business or I gained all that weight back or whatever that thing is, right? Like, what's the other side of the coin? Like, what's the other thing that happened?
Yeah.
I maybe failed at this one thing, but I gained perspective or clarity on what I really wanted, or it gave me the free time to start this thing I really wanted, or it allowed me to really embrace how I am no matter what size I am, right? Like, there's so many beautiful things that can happen from what looks like a failure at the outside.
Yeah. And getting to a place, if you want to really next level this, is getting to a place where failures aren't even failures. Like they're just stepping stones and moments of growth, and you meet them, you don't even have to take a route to get there. Like that's just your automatic place.
And you haven't attached some negative narrative to the act of failure. You've simply accepted that that is a neutral part of being a living person.
Yeah. And a really important piece of this is being able to share your story, because this is what I always tell clients when they want to talk about why they don't have difficult conversations, right? I always say, hey, if you are not putting the narrative out there, then someone else is filling it in for you and likely making it a lot worse than what is really happening. And so the quicker that you can be to jump in and have the difficult conversation, share your story, share your perspective, the quicker that you're able to put that out there first and not allow someone else's narrative to fill up that space.
Yeah. I mean, heaven forbid you're allowing somebody else to make up a story about you for you. You're the daggum author. Like it's your story and it's your narrative. And I also think this incredible thing happens when you're willing to take ownership of the story and share your perspective and share what's going on with yourself. Other people feel deeply connected to that. And that battleground for vulnerability, that's the thing that becomes the relationships that will help fuel you into the next phase of your life.
Yeah.
Right? And so don't be afraid to be honest about what you're experiencing, even if it's not always sunshine and daisies, because I think other people really do either resonate with that or they want to rally and support you in some way. And so giving them a chance to do that is really important.
Yeah. And letting go of the shame and regret when you are sharing your story, or, if that's holding you back from even sharing it in the first place, is so important, because that vulnerability is what fosters growth and connection in others, and also what fosters your own confidence.
So your homework from us is to take some of the things that you feel like were negative storylines in your life and just reframe them and turn them into positive ones. You can DM them to us if you want. You can tell us anything and we'll keep it anonymous, but just to have that accountability of saying, this is the narrative that I subscribed to before, and this is what I'm choosing to subscribe to in the future.
Yes. So powerful. We cannot wait to hear all your reframes.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.